Oh, and welcome to the Spotlight Games podcast for episode 166. I'm Jake Twitchin, and today we're talking about 4 of the biggest names in video games. 5, actually, if I think about it. 1, Hideo Kojima. 2, Neil Druckmann. 3, Tetsuya Nomura. 4, Jade Raymond. And 5, it's the gangsta with a twerk team, Maury.
Gangsta with a twerk team?
I took some liberties on with a and twerk team, but I think it plays.
Oh, gangsta with a twerk team.
I was feeling that one. I wrote that down in my notes 2 days ago.
Oh my god! I mean, the twerk team part is amazing. I mean, am I on am I just leading the twerk team? Am I a pimp, or am I throwing ass too?
Mm-mm. No, well, no, they're in support of you.
Okay, no, that's great.
They're your hype squad.
I love this. Can we figure out a way to make this real?
Yeah, I think so.
Dude, will we make enough
chat
money?
Sound off. I already see some big names in here. Are you joining the twerk team or not? Cirrus, Drewel, Bennett?
Who's joining the twerk team?
You, YouTube VOD watcher, or perhaps podcast listener in the future? Maybe you are too.
Yo,
I don't know. Maury, what's your favorite non-alcoholic refreshing drink? That's what I have to ask you at the top of the show, because we got a little heat wave coming up here in the near future. And I want to know what you like to kick back with and drink.
Dude, it's kind of my go-to all times of the year, but I find nothing to be more refreshing. I just drank one before I got in front of this camera. Then a Diet Coke with a little lemon slice in it. Oh, if I have that on a hot summer day, I can do anything. I'm a demon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh.
What is your refreshing beverage of choice?
Excellent question. Thank you for throwing it back at me. I mean, not like the twerk team, but the question.
Right.
I love a good cola answer for sure. A lot of people assume because I'm such a Pepsi pilled individual. Also, chat, please start listing off your favorite refreshing drinks while you're here, so I can relay those after I monologue here a little bit. But I'm a cola man through and through. I love Pepsi. It's my favorite drink for sure. And a lot of people assume that because I like Pepsi, I dislike Coke. When in reality, Coke is the closest you can get to Pepsi. It's my second favorite beverage.
Right.
Really.
Right.
When somebody is taking my order and I'm like, can I get a Pepsi? And they're like, is Coke okay? I go, I don't usually do that, but sometimes I try to make a little mockery of it. It really affects me. But the answer is yes, of course. I'm going to love that. Love that.
This is so funny because it's the other way for me, right? I'm a Diet Coke girly, but if they're we have Diet Pepsi, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go with Diet Pepsi because that's as close as I'm going to get. So same thing going back. What is it like to know that you're a part of the worst group in society, the Pepsi lovers? Is that hard to wake up every morning and know that you've chosen Pepsi over Coke? Is that challenging?
No, it feels good. I love that it's less sought after. I'm never going to have an issue with supply or anything like that.
Never.
It's got a sweeter kick, a crisper taste.
Sure.
And the people that are in my leagues and enjoying Pepsi with me are better. But actually, that's not my fucking answer. My refreshing drink. I love a fucking Arnold Palmer.
It's a great time. It's really hard to argue with an Arnold Palmer. My God, it's hard to argue.
Arnie Palmy.
I don't know about that one, but shit, why not? Why not?
It's a special taste. It's a special taste. Let me catch up with chat a little bit here. P Swag, the owner of this podcast, says his favorite refreshing drink is piss, which is very good. Jula is here. Welcome. Sedina is here saying sweet tea. That's half of my answer. Very good choice. Aged Clearly Canadian is inspired. Very good. Water iced tea.
What is Aged Clearly
Clearly
Canadian?
Canadian is it's somewhere in between a seltzer and a Sprite, I would say.
Interesting.
It's not quite like a bubbly. It's a little bit more soda adjacent than it is seltzer. Very, very sweet to the taste, but it's clear, see-through. It has a refreshing bite to it. It was not around for a very long time, and it resurfaced a couple years ago, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Fun.
It's pretty good.
I love
it. Pretty good. You should keep your eyes peeled. It comes in a little teardrop looking glass bottle. It's very unique. You'll know it when you see it. You'll probably be like, oh yeah, those. I've seen those before.
I'm excited.
Is that the fucking refreshing drink, Drupal, from the 90s where there was little pebbles in it, edible pebbles of stuff? Is that something?
Hold on.
Gianni is here, entering the chat with the big sub for 5 months. We're off to such a nice start. Great
God
stuff.
damn it. God damn it, Gianni.
If you're listening to this on podcasts or YouTube services around the world, make sure you comment or leave a 5-star review with your favorite refreshing drink for the summer so that we can all enjoy refreshments together. But today, of course, we are here for the Spotlight Games podcast, and we have a whole lot of video game stuff to talk about. Each week, we spotlight the latest and greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Spotlight Games Pod, or by searching Spotlight Games in your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in as we record live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's now on twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod. That's here. So be sure to follow us so that you're notified when we are going live. Gangsta with the Twerk team. Talk to me about what you've been playing.
My guy. Dude, so today was awesome. I woke up this morning at 5:30, which is an hour that I usually don't wake up at ever on any occasion for any reason. But I woke up at 5:30 a.m. today. And I knew that by 9 a.m. I had a place to be. I had some things to do. I had to go to worky perky today. But I threw that shift up when I got it on Thursday because I knew I didn't want to be at my job on Tuesday. I just got back from Memphis. I'm dead tired. Personal life is all over the place. I don't need it. I get a call at 9 a.m. from my manager. Don't recognize the number. John, Faithland's come here to take your shift. Is that all right with you? Is that all right with me? You're not seeing my face one time today, brother. Not a single time. I'll be sitting on my cheeks continuing to beat Expedition 33. I played that for a good little 2.5, 3 hours in the morning. By 9 a.m., I was like, it's over. It's over. I'm not going to be able to play it anymore. Nope. Sat there and finished it. And my God, Jake, I think the last time I was this surprised by a game, because I had no excitement for Expedition 33. I could have cared less. I thought it looked generic, bland, whatever, right? You, on the other hand, were a huge advocate for Expedition 33, and I didn't take it seriously because you're a turn-based sicko, and I don't like turn-based games. This game has surprised me the most since Disco Elysium. That's how good this game is, where it just showed up out of nowhere, and it blew my mind. Love this game. What an ending. What a finale. What a story. What a conversation. I would love to do like a spoiler cast at some point. Today's not that day. Don't worry. I know you're still beating the game. So I did that. Beat Expedition 33 today. Cranked out some edits. And then do you want to know what I played next, Jake? Can you guess?
What? Oh, he's grabbing audio listeners. He is grabbing off the shelf a giant statue of the Doomslayer with fur and a chain. Fucking, what do you call that? Ball and chain?
Yeah, I love a good ball and chain.
No, that's not what it's called.
Oh, I love a good
flail. I got there.
No, you did.
It's a flail.
Jake, I played Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah.
I think the challenge is that I know that because when I play a Doom game, I end up going and trying to find every nook and cranny. I still don't, because I don't look up a guide or anything. I just do it on my own, right? The challenge is that I do that. So even though you and Mai's playing time, our playing time is probably similar, I am at mission 6 and you are at a much later mission than myself. I adore this game. I adore that all the things that we saw in the trailers that made us excited happened in the first 5 missions. You're on the mech by mission 2. You're on the dragon by mission 5. Oh my God, the way that the world opens up in mission 5 and you're able to just soar around this giant sky base and find all these nooks and crannies with secret stuff, the sense of scale going into a ship and the ship's ginormous. And then you punch through the thing at the end and you drop out and you're back in this massive world. The way they handle scale in this game is ridiculous. Doom: The Dark Ages is treating me so well. Love the Doomslayer. Capes have made every single protagonist in a video game more cool, better, more interesting, and I am adoring my time in Doom: The Dark Ages. Jake, what have you been playing?
Well, I've also been playing Doom: The Dark Ages, and I think I'm on mission like 15 or 16 right now. Like, I believe it's like 21 or 22. So I am pretty deep into the game, and you are exactly correct. I'm running towards the next objective, and I'm very rarely finding any secrets or anything like that, but I'm having a blast with it. I wanted to pick your brain on Doom just a little bit more, and then I would want to circle back to Expedition 33.
Please.
What kind of gameplay variety is there in 2016 and Eternal? Is there any like adjacent to the dragon situation or the mech situation?
Excellent question. I only played a few hours of 2016, but I beat Doom Eternal on stream all the way through.
Yeah.
There was nothing like this. I mean, nothing. It was boots on the ground. I mean, obviously you're soaring through the sky with like your grappling hook, and I loved how that felt. But there's never a moment where you jump in a mech or you're on top of a dragon. Like the amount of variety in like mission style that there is in Doom the Dark Ages is like unseen, at least in Eternal. If something happened in 2016, I may not know about it, but I didn't feel that at all in Eternal. And Eternal had great pacing and it was great, but it was nowhere near the scale of Doom the Dark Ages, in my opinion. Yeah.
Because this is probably going to be the last time that we talk about Doom on content, if I were to guess, I want to talk about one thing that happens that is like arguably a spoiler. It's not a story spoiler. It's just a little cool thing that happens in one of the later mech levels that I want to talk about that I just never seen before, and I love it so fucking much. In Doom the Dark Ages, you're in your mech or you're on your dragon, and a lot of times they'll kind of shake up those scenes with hopping out of the mech or off of the dragon to kind of shoot more and then get back on it. And at one point, you're fighting a bunch of people in your mech, and there's like this big wall that you're trying to scale. And at the end of the mech section, you go to like, you know, the marker of like where the next objective is. And the mech just puts out its hand way high up in front of it and grabs the top of the wall, and the Doomslayer gets out of like the mech's face and climbs up his arm. It's so fucking cool, man. It's just such a nice little touch. Like, it's so rad. This game is just so metal through and through. I'm having such a good time with it. I know that when it's going to be my second favorite game of the year. Blueprints is going to be hard to beat this year for me, but Doom the Dark Ages is so special, and there is a small chance that when I think about it all said and done, I will think about my time. It's one of those like recency bias things. Like, I worry about both of those games getting so separated from my thoughts 6 months from now when I'm talking about game of the year, that I just think back to my time with Blueprints. I'm like, that's cool. I learned so many things. And then I think back to my thoughts on Doom, and I'm like, mech, explosions, dragon. And I'm like, that's my favorite fucking game. Like, there is a real case for game of the year here for Doom for me. I am over the moon about this fucking game.
Dude.
To the point of, I think I might be interested in loading that game up after I finish it, or going back to previous chapters and unlocking other stuff. Like, I don't want to play on a higher difficulty or anything, but I do just want to shoot some more and jump around some more and throw my shield at more things. It's just awesome.
God, I mean, and that's such a rarity. I mean, Jake, the amount of times I've heard you beat a game, let alone go back and like replay parts of it. I mean, that is a rarity. Dude, it's weird. Like, but you said it, there's so much great stuff to play right now. Like, I had such a great moment today where I'm like, oh wow, I have the day to myself. I'm gonna beat Expedition 33 today. I'm then gonna play the Dark Ages and spend way too much time looking for collectibles. And then when I'm done with Doom in like 4 or 5 days, I'm gonna sit there and play the Midnight Walk over a little 4-hour stretch. And then there's gonna be some other huge game out that I didn't look up yet, that I don't remember is coming out. Like, it's so great, bro. There's so much great stuff. But I think you're right. I'm worried that as I get farther into the year, I'm gonna forget how much Expedition 33 moved me, how gritty everything in Doom the Dark Ages felt. So I have to write down some notes so that at the end of the year, I'm not totally lost as to what a great experience both of those games have been for me.
Yeah. The good thing is hopping on content all the time and talking about our list as we go is generally helpful, but chat's starting to populate even more. I see Bama here. He's excited for Hideo Kojima. High Score Weekly is here listening in. Love to see the squad. P-Swag says he'll never let me forget how good Blueprints is. Very based. Did you say that you played Midnight Walk now?
No, I'm still waiting. Because it's a 4-hour game, I'm like, I'm going to do it in one sitting. Like, I'm not going to move. Yeah. But I know you're amped for that for when you do get to it. Let me just ask you to put a bow on Expedition 33 for you. Are you 10 out of 10 on this game? Like, it would be easy for me to throw a 10 out of 10 out. Like, I wouldn't be disappointed to do that, but like, it's not like, for the year, it's probably my favorite game I've played so far without a doubt. But like all time, it's a 9. It's a 9.5. I think that there's a lot of great stuff in the writing, but I think at the same time, you can tell that this is a team of like junior game designers in some ways. this game is way too good for it to have been made by a bunch of junior developers. But like, I do think that there are moments where like the writing could be more impactful. Like the highs of like a God of War Ragnarok or a Disco Elysium are not met here. I think the material is that good, and I think that the story they're telling is that good, but that doesn't mean like the moment to moment dialogue hits those heights. So I think just that probably knocks it down like a peg and a half for me, if that. Yeah.
That's an astute observation, because listen, we are at, in my circles at least, like online Twitch streamers, video game news, video game journalists, the glazing for Expedition 33 is crazy. And I was going to pick your brain and say, you know, if it's not a 10, what holds it back from being a 10? And that's a very interesting take too, because I feel like what I've heard is like the story goes crazy. The story beats are unreal. But you saying that like it just comes up a little bit short on the writing is really interesting. Gianni says it's an imperfect 10 out of 10, which is a really cool way of thinking about things as well. I like an imperfect 10 out of 10. I have imperfect 10 out of 10s, you know? Sure. It's fair to be passionate about it like that. I like that quite a bit. And Cog, welcome in, as well as Coal Mines. I know Coal Mines is a big Expedition 33 fan, and also agreeing that's like an imperfect 10 out of 10, you know?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about where I'm at with it. I think I agree.
Say more things you hate about Expedition 33. I'm just kidding.
God, it's turn-based.
In the onslaught of things that are coming out, some of these really big titles that are like Game of the Year contenders, there was something that snuck out for me that I've been really excited for a while. And this week I got to spend a decent amount of time on Capcom Fighting Collection 2. Familiar with this at all?
I mean, I heard about it, but I've not touched it with a 10-foot pole. But talk to me.
Yeah, it's basically, so like Capcom Fighting Collection 1 has a much more like broad amount of, or selection of games, whereas this one is kind of some of the weirdo games from the past years. Like this doesn't have any of the Marvel versus Capcoms or like a slew of the Street Fighters. It has one Street Fighter, which is cool, but this is like the Capcom versus SNKs, and this is like Street Fighter, I think Alpha 3 might be on there, which is a great Street Fighter for sure. And do some independent research if you want the full list of games. Why I bought this game and where I've been spending my time on this game is for Power Stone 1 and 2. Two of my favorite games ever that were Dreamcast exclusives for a very long time and were stuck in time on the PSP. Now, this port brings together an arcade collection of Power Stone 1 and 2, not from the Dreamcast hardware. So it does miss some single player features, which is something that really, really hurts. But the fact that you can hop on and play an authentic version of Power Stone, split screen or online, casual or ranked with your friends, is really, really cool. But there's a lot of things that are kind of holding it back. There's some weird stuff going on with the online. Power Stone 2 is a 4-player game, but the online is only for 2 players, yet it loads you into a game with 4 players and 2 of them are CPUs for your ranked match, which is very, very bizarre. It's just like a game where the infrastructure is clearly catered to. It is the same, like, I think it's like, I would call it like a classics engine that Capcom has been using. They used it for the first Fighting Collection. They used it for the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. They're using it for this, where it's like a weird all-encompassing menu that has you select which version of the game that you want to play before booting into that game. It doesn't just bring you like an emulated version of that game right off the bat. So you make some of your selections in this like brand new menu that hasn't existed before, and then it boots you into that version of the game. That way, I believe it all uses the same online infrastructure. It kind of operates similar to, have you ever done multiplayer with Nintendo Switch Online?
Yes.
So you know how it kind of like just boots you into like a shared session, and then you can kind of like select games together and get in and out of games together and rewind and stuff like that. It's like that kind of thing where it's all sort of wrapped in this package, and it's not the neatest way of doing things, but it's a means to an end, and it gets you that tight, like, you know, rollback netcode, I'm pretty sure, on there, so that when you're actually doing the fighting, the brass tacks of this, the thing that the hardcore really care about, it's good. So win some, lose some with that, but I'm very excited. I would have paid $40 for Power Stone 1 alone on a modern system. You know, the fact that I got Power Stone 1 and 2 and it's online and there's a bunch of other games packed in is just very cool as well. And it's one of those collections that has like the art book and shit like that too, the digital art book. And I always love playing those. I did it with like a Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection recently, where we play the game for a half hour, and then when we're finished with that game, we'll look at all the art, and the art is like late 90s, early 2000s Japanese like anime adjacent fucking shit, and it is distressing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's some busty women afoot and some pretty hung men
Oh
that are all
no.
making appearances here. You should see Zangief. I
This
see
is
Lart books
I'm
in the
looking
chat,
it
which is
up.
making me laugh so hard already. Lart book made me laugh when everyone was posting the Expedition 33 thing today, and it's in French. It's like Lart book Expedition 33.
Stop.
Oh god, too funny.
Yeah,
Too funny.
dude, I remember when it was a while back, because I remember when you were telling me about this collection and how excited you were that Power Stone was coming back. I never even looked it up until now. So I didn't even realize that this was something in Capcom's like legacy, that they had, I don't
Dude.
know, another fighting game that had that much popularity to where you loved it that much as a kid.
Well, I am the few and the proud, man. We are not the
Yeah.
many. It is like it is a game where even when I streamed it the other day, people were like, how do I not know about this game? This looks so fucking sick. And it just came out at this time where like the arcade version was never big in the US, and the Dreamcast version of 1 was kind of big in the US, as big as like a mid-generational Dreamcast release can be,
Yeah.
because at that point, like the Dreamcast is a real sad story. Incredible launch, great selection of titles, and just like if they would have waited 6 months, increased the price by $50, and made that thing play DVDs, we would be living in a different world right now. But because they didn't, Sony put out a PlayStation 2 that played DVDs and ate their fucking lunch and put Sega out of the console fucking business forever.
Brutal.
Happened very fast. So it was truly a victim of circumstance. But when people actually talk about it, for those that don't know, if you're just hearing me ramble about this Capcom game, you probably just think it's a fighting game that's 2D. But that's not the case at all. I call it like a party fighting game. It is the closest to a Smash Brothers clone that ever existed before Smash Brothers clones existed. People started making Smash Brothers games in the spirit of Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
It takes place on a 3D plane with an isometric view. The camera is dynamic, so you move around in a 3D area, but it is very much like beat the shit out of your homies and then pick up items off the ground. And there's like dozens and dozens of crazy items. You can pick up trash cans and throw them at your homie. You can, grab guns and swords and laser beams. And the entire match takes place revolving around the Power Stones. God, this is so cool. It's the coolest mechanic. So you start off, each one of you has a Power Stone. Then if you land a combo or hit an enemy with your weapon, this is just a one-on-one in Power Stone 1, you knock a Power Stone out of them and it flies onto a random spot on the map. And then what you need to do is collect 3 Power Stones. In addition to getting your buddy's Power Stone, you also have to get the neutral Power Stone. So it's this like push and pull of maneuvering around the open area to get the Power Stones, making sure you don't take a hit to give them their 3rd Power Stone, and trying to kind of like play defensively and then get that shot in so you can get that 2nd Power Stone or make it neutral so you're not back against the wall. It's this very cool push and pull that is unlike any other game. There's one single game that I know of that is the least bit similar to that, and it's a game called Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects. Any Marvel Nemesis knowers in chat? Do you have any idea what this game is?
Well, I do know what the game is, because if I'm not mistaken, right now the introduction to the game is viral all over TikTok because of how like depraved it was. Like, if I'm not mistaken, dude, it's viral right now because everyone's like, we need a Marvel movie to open like this game did back in the day, because there's all the destruction and it's the news reporter saying that the world is like in waste. If I'm thinking of the right one, that's what I think it is.
Might be.
Yeah,
it might be. It is really cool. That game came out in like the generation following. It was like PS2, Xbox, GameCube. And I believe what happened was it was like I don't think it was developers from Power Stone, but it was definitely inspired by Power Stone. That's for sure. I'm getting some of this intro pulled up for us in B-roll right now because I want to check out if this is indeed what we're talking about. Looks like it's going to be a special news report. But yeah, Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects is the only game that tried to get something from Power Stone. They failed. Unfortunately, this game is like widely regarded as like a 6 or 7 out of 10. But halfway decent. I really liked the game. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is this the intro?
Yeah, this is the intro, bro. This is for audio listeners because I'm not getting sound, so I think they might not be. This is like
no sound.
Yeah, this opening to this game is viral right now on TikTok because everyone wants this to be the way Doomsday opens. You know what I mean? The new Avengers movie, and it's like, fuck, that'd be awesome. So wild.
Yeah, that is cool. This is kind of cool, like a news reporter in the center of like all of the crazy madness going on with like the world is in waste and there's all these aliens invading. I think the big hook for this game is I believe that this one was original characters made like the Inhumans or it's not the Inhumans. It's Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects. That's my bad. I think the Inhumans already exist. The Imperfects didn't. And I think it's like a collection of new superheroes that were written for this, and they ended up having like a comic book run, and the whole thing failed because the game failed. So I don't think the Imperfects pull up many places, but it's half these like new OC Marvel characters and half Wolverine and Captain America and Hulk and fucking Punisher and all that.
Okay,
Brad, I own it, a physical copy back here.
Wild.
26 minutes into the show, we're just rambling about a game that neither of us have played in years. That's my bad. Because here at the Spotlight Games Podcast, all right, let's get into some of our headlines because I'm really excited to talk to you about some of these things. I've got the 4 big ones that kind of, I don't know, they're more of like a, I guess, sub-series. Each one, they have like multiple stories wrapped into them in some cases, and then we'll just do our regular like news spotlight at the end where we have the rest of the headlines kind of belted out. But we're focusing on 4 people: Kojima, Druckmann, Nomura, and Raymond. Maury, I'm gonna let you decide which one of those individuals we start with.
Oh man,
what do you think about that? Choose your own adventure news show.
Yeah, I like choosing my own adventure. I have a good time with that. Let's do the bad news. Let's talk about Raymond. Like let's do that. Yeah.
So Jade Raymond has been hard at work for the last 4 or 5 years, working from Haven Studios, a studio that she founded, on FairGames, a game that we haven't seen since it was announced. Is that right?
Yeah.
In 2021 or 2,
I think so.
And that is the game that was basically announced alongside Concord of here's our new probably $40 as well multiplayer shooter. And this is the one that kind of looks, if you like recall correctly, it looks a lot like Payday.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that the best?
It's
the
like
best
a
kind of like
game
comparison to make.
Yeah.
Tell me what you know about that game, because you're a Concord guy. Was this on your radar at all?
I mean, I was aware of it. I don't think that I think the aesthetic is dog shit. Like, I don't think that anything about FairGame stands out. I don't think it looks interesting in any way. Like, I don't know. Like, it looks like Payday. It looks like a heist game. Like, it doesn't look exciting. Like, there's nothing about that game that speaks to me personally. Obviously, I want to see gameplay for it. I don't even think that's going to happen. But I would love to see, like, what they did with it. But I don't know if we ever will. But no, it doesn't speak to me personally. No, what about you?
Yeah.
Does this do anything for you?
No, not at all. I mean, it's the kind of thing that I would play because I'm a sucker. Because I like new things, you know. I wouldn't let a first party Sony release at this point really like escape me. But I think that's a lot because I just want to showcase it on stream and make some clips out of it and see what's happening. But yeah, I think that this is like, it reminds me very much of Watch Dogs Legion, which I think had like a dog shit change of aesthetic as well. Yeah. With like the masks that they thought were cool and all that.
Oh yeah.
Which makes sense because Jade Raymond's last game for Ubisoft, if I recall correctly, was Far Cry 4. And I think, no. Okay, so she wasn't involved with that. It was Far Cry 4. So Jade Raymond is known for basically helping create the Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs series. That's what she's like kind of famous for. But I'm sure that, you know, during her time there, she had plenty of input on a lot of those like big games because she did help with development. She was the managing director of Assassin's Creed Unity, Far Cry 4, Watch Dogs, Splinter Cell Blacklist, executive producer for Assassin's Creed Bloodlines 2, and then a producer for Assassin's Creed. So she had definitely been putting in a lot of work. And then she had a brief time where she worked for EA on Star Wars Battlefront 2. And then after just a while, she left founded Haven Studios. Haven Studios was acquired by Sony not long after the company was founded, and they began work, assumingly, on FairGames. So now Jade Raymond out. There's really only one conclusion you can draw on this, right?
Oh yeah, it's that FairGames is in hell.
Yeah, it's trouble in paradise.
Yeah. And if I may, Jake, I want to ask something, because as you read me off Jade Raymond's portfolio, right, what she's worked on over the years, I keep hearing single player titles with some sort of a narrative experience to them. Maybe not exciting narratives, but narratives. Why do we keep taking people whose entire lineage and legacy in this industry is single player action adventure games and sending them off to do live service multiplayer heist games? Like, I don't understand it, Jake. It's like, no matter how much expertise you have in making Assassin's Creed, how does that translate over to a live service heist game? Well,
I wish I had an answer for. I mean, the problem is that, like, we know the answer, and it's just this like inevitable nightmare where we're delaying we're delaying what is surely coming our way, because we have proven that we will eat slop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, like when Fortnite exists and it is proven significantly more profitable to buy shiny skins for a game that evolves, games as a service becomes a very desirable thing for everybody. The problem is that there's really only room for 5 or 6 real big games as a service. Like, I would say like 6, maybe there's a fringe 6 as well, right? So let's call it a dozen that can exist. And it's very hard to break in there, and it's very hard to stay on top. You look at games like Apex Legends, which used to be one of the top 3 or 4, is now in that bottom rung where it's definitely a lot further down the list. It's still one of those evergreen ones, but nonetheless, I think its popularity is waning. And still, Apex Legends having a bad year made a fucking ton of money. I bet Apex Legends made more last year in their worst year ever since launching than the Star Wars Jedi franchise has made in its entire existence, because they're both Respawn like IPs.
Yeah,
I would guess in 1 year. I don't have anything to back that up, but that's the world. That's basically the world that we're living in right now. So everyone's trying to get a little piece of that pie or be the next thing. And I almost get where Sony was for a period of time, where they were like, we want to. It's not the worst strategy in the world. Okay, I'm saying now, in retrospect, if you're trying to get into that games as a service sweet spot of like, we're one of the top 10, those top 12, and this thing fucking prints money.
Yep.
It is not a bad idea to take a bunch of studios and throw shit at the wall and see what works. Because if you can get 4 or 5 very good studios trying their hand at a games as a service, if 4 of them fail and 1 hits at the expense of, you know, probably humans' livelihoods and happiness, you can probably recoup all of your losses from those other 4 games if that game lasts 3 years.
And this is where I get confused, is that I agree with you that the model makes sense. I don't understand the leadership. Why are we not going and poaching someone from Respawn or from Epic Games and being like, you worked on Fortnite for this many years and you worked on Apex for this many years. We're going to make you the head of this studio because you have history and legacy in this industry and you know what works and what doesn't. We're going and we're grabbing people that made single player games for, 2 decades. I don't know. I don't get it. And I think closest. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that's a novel experiment or risk to take. I do think that there is a world where, like, Sony's thing on paper in retrospect is like, you acquire Destiny arguably at like a pretty good time, but you're buying high for a company that is at its precipice, right? And obviously since then it's been a low thing, but you get some pros in the building that understand how to do it, and then you bring talent from existing studios to try to make some magic in what I would say is almost like a redeemable sense of doing things, where instead of going and just taking Johnny whoever from Apex Legends team to come over and make the next Apex Legends, you try to do something kind of original. You try to break through and not have, because what are we going to sit there? We're going to sit there and criticize there's so many of them now at this point, but I'm trying to think of the one. It's not FairGames. It's not Concord. It was released a couple of years ago or a year ago. and it had
Helldivers?
like AI voices. No, it had like AI voices was a controversy for a little while. It's like 3 players. You're grabbing like safes and depositing them into things. Neutral teams of 3.
The finals?
The finals. The
Yeah.
finals. Good stuff. Sirius in the chat got that as well. That kind of game, you look at the finals and you at face value, you're like, oh, that just looks like a bad Fortnite or Apex. Like it's too similar. You got to make something that stands out. I don't know why I've decided to play devil's advocate on this and defend a bunch of Sony missteps all of a sudden. That's not
I
not
love
me.
this.
But,
This is immaculate.
yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it puts us in a very, very strange spot. Gianni has a good question in the chat, and I want you to answer it. Is the Apex issue because of battle royale fatigue, or is it just losing the juice? What do you think?
I think that there's a lot of battle royales that are like asking for gamers' attention right now, but like at the end of the day, Fortnite is still doing bonkers numbers. Like I really do think that Apex is just losing the juice. I mean, what is one time that Apex reinvented itself in a way that was comparable to even half of the effort that Fortnite puts into a season? You know what I mean? Like when has Apex even done half of what Fortnite does every 2 to 3 months? Like that much of a reinvention, right? That much like new life breathed into a game. Like it's not that they could, like maybe they don't have the team. I highly doubt they have the team size to do something like that. But I just don't think that it's as versatile as like Fortnite or whatever. So I don't know. I think that there's a lot of battle royales trying to get our attention. I don't know. What do you think, Jake?
I think you're spot on. I think that it's a bit of column A, bit of column B. I mean, Warzone's popularity is declining. PUBG's is declining. I believe everyone year over year is down except for Fortnite. So I think that comes down to like when things are really popping for a genre, you can have a few of them that work, right?
Yeah.
But at the end, the cream kind of rises to the top and probably only one will stick around. So it's like the battle royale that will be surviving 10 years from now will probably be Fortnite, just because they've asserted themselves as such a dominant piece of like mass media, like the zeitgeist. Everything is in Fortnite. Like that is the closest thing we have to a metaverse. But then you have like the rise of the extraction shooter. And I think within the next couple of years, it won't just be Marathon and Tarkov, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's another one out there as well, but there'll be more of those too. And one will rise to the top and one will be crowned king. And we'll see who it'll be. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it could be some franchise fatigue, but crazy with Jade Raymond out. I think it's a wild story. And I don't know. I don't really care that much. Again, like talked about those Amy Hennig last week about like, okay, yeah, you're a big name and you started a studio. I don't know why Jade Raymond and Amy Hennig parallel each other so much with this like thing, but around the same time, they both like left their gigs and were like touted as these very like prestigious individuals who were talented at making these games. And since then, it's been trouble in paradise for both of them. Their careers have mirrored each other in quite a few ways, where the things don't seem like they're going very well at that 1943 game. And then you look at like the list of stuff that she did for Ubisoft for Jade Raymond's side, and I'm like, yeah, like Far Cry 4 is an okay one of them. Like the Assassin's Creed series is a win, no doubt, but she was a producer on that and then an executive producer on subsequent ones. And then Watch Dogs, I think, never really reached the highs that people wanted Watch Dogs to hit. And I think that franchise is, for all intents and purposes, dead at this point. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see where she lands, if she gets hired elsewhere to work on something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I bet she goes back to EA, dude.
That'd be wild. I mean, it's the perfect time. Make Battlefront 3, please. We need it. I need it. God. That's Slaughter a Small
Shira
Village.
says, bring back Titanfall with the Apex conversation. I couldn't agree more. Let's go to our next big name. You have left Neil Druckmann, Tetsuya Nomura, and Hideo Kojima.
I am so excited to talk about the love of my life, Hideo Kojima. I'm so excited.
Druckmann, of course.
Yeah, right.
All right. So 2 big headlines for Kojima. One of them is that Physint, the game that was announced at the PlayStation Showcase a year ago now at this point, a little more than that, where it's a stealth action espionage game, a spiritual successor, if you will, I guess, for all intents and purposes, to Metal Gear. being developed in partnership with Sony
Yeah.
for PlayStation consoles, at least for starters. And he confirmed that this game is much further away than even possibly thought before. What do you make of this? Anything to pull from here?
I mean, like my first thought is like, of course, it's 5 to 6 years away. Because my thought process is this, right? Kojima's clearly been hard at work on Death Stranding 2. That comes out here in like a month. And then he still has to wrap up Overdose, right? Like this game that he's working on with Jordan Peele, which I'm so excited about, exclusive to Xbox. Maybe not anymore. Who knows? Maybe that's not a thing. But like he still has to finish OD. So I assume OD comes out in 3-ish years. And like, yeah, Physint, he's building from the ground up, presumably like starting now. So yeah, I would imagine 3 years after that, 4 years after that, that's when we'll see Physint. It'll be during like the PlayStation 6 life cycle. Yeah, like I think that's his last game though. Like I don't think Kojima makes a game after Physint. I think maybe he like does something with movies that like doesn't go well. Like I don't think anything Kojima does outside of games goes well. Like and I think anyone who says otherwise is insane. Yeah.
He's the fucking segue master over here, because if that is his last game, what if I told you that Hideo Kojima has a USB thumb drive full of ideas that Kojima Productions can use after his death?
Dude. Okay. I remember when Kojima Productions was founded, right around it would have been after they were founded. It would have been around when Death Stranding came out. And I remember some people within the industry, some people within games commentary were having really interesting conversations. And the question was, I mean, his name's on the fucking company. It's Kojima Productions. What is Kojima Productions without Kojima? Is he training anyone up to kind of, I mean, can you even train anyone to embrace Kojima's nutty bullshit? Like, and would it even do the same thing that it does for us now? Like I don't think it would. So the question becomes like, what is Kojima Productions after Kojima leaves, presumably after Physint? Dude, I have no idea. And the idea that his parting gift to everyone at Kojima Productions is a flash drive with a bunch of ideas for what could be games is like horrifying. I don't know. Like, and I'll just be transparent as well in saying that, like, I mean, him leaving Konami, like things haven't gone very well for Konami after he left. Like they don't know what to do with Metal Gear. You know what I mean? And even when they put out the remasters or the remakes of the old games, I mean, they're god awful. We'll see if Metal Gear Solid Delta this year is any good, right? But like the collection that they put out, it was fine. It was okay. It had a bunch of problems at launch. Like when Kojima leaves somewhere, they're pretty directionless because Kojima is so hands-on and he kind of does everything. So I don't think that those ideas on a flash drive is going to save Kojima Productions and suddenly give them the ability to think like Kojima and build worlds like Kojima.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that like the way that things went down with Konami and Kojima is one of like the great tragedies of the video game industry, like always will forever. And I know that there's a lot of people that are like, well, then we wouldn't have got Death Stranding and all that. But like there was an abrupt ending to Kojima's productivity, which cost us years of development time on games and gave us a subpar Metal Gear Solid 5. And then, what is essentially like a delayed Death Stranding or whatever his next game would have been because of that as a result. And Konami, props to Konami because they have seemed to be like cleaning up their act over the last couple of years. But, the memes are easy. They are constantly working on their fucking pachinko machines and slots and stuff like that, even using their IP. But Konami is kind of on a hot streak. They've had some nice collections put out that people had been asking for a long time. I think about like the Castlevania collections, like the Advanced collection and then the DS collection. I forgot what that thing's called. And then they kind of did Silent Hill 2 right. I would say overall that was a success for them.
Yeah.
Things seem pretty good with Metal Gear and Silent Hill F as well, as far as like what's coming up. But I don't know. It still remains to be seen. I think that there is... I'm very interested to see what is going to happen with Konami, because they don't strike me as like a particularly creative business anymore.
No.
And I don't know what they're going to do with their IP. They're doing it right with Silent Hill. They have like the right people involved, original creators coming back, new talent. I think it looks good, but that is for a very specific genre, and they used to be so varied with what they created, and like there's just so much dormancy in the IP that is owned. Like a dream for so long has been, can someone fucking buy the Metal Gear IP? Can Kojima buy the Metal Gear IP? And like,
Yeah.
at this point with Konami, that's what I'd like to see the fucking most. Imagine fucking Physint just becomes Metal Gear Solid 6, dude. Like
Insane.
You know, like that would
crazy.
be the fucking dream. I know that's such a the chances of that happening are 0.00001. You know, but I don't know. The powers that be at Konami seemed like they would rather have that whole fucking ship burn than give Hideo Kojima what he wants ever again. But cool guy, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Have you seen? Did I talk to you about his pictures that he always posts online?
Which ones? Because I see
on
all
Instagram. I think he called one of them he called it like building the game, and it's him sitting at his desk holding his controller like a gremlin and always like doing like crazy faces. Have you seen this series of posts?
No.
You got to scroll down this man's Instagram. It's unbelievable. It's tough because he posts like 8 times a day, but Kojima is one of the best follows on social media.
Yes.
Like he's always watching crazy stuff, hanging out with insane people, posting very rad things. It's just generally cool.
Yeah.
He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, he is.
Like him?
I love Kojima, but Jake, I want to know, what do you think Kojima Productions becomes? I know that this is such a, I'm only doing this because we talked about Physint 5 to 6 years away. Kojima's old. He's made it sound like that might be his last stop. What does Kojima Productions even do? What do they even do after that?
I don't know. I think that there's not like any, I don't know any notable names from Kojima Productions. Do you know?
No, this is the whole problem. This is the whole problem. I've never heard anyone name anyone at Kojima Productions besides Kojima.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, it's a good question. Like, you have to assume it's run like any other thing, but usually there is a production team that is very involved, and there's a writing team. I mean, the director is Hideo Kojima. I'm bringing up the Death Stranding IMDb right now. Kenji Yano is a writer, in Shuyo Murata. I probably butchered both of those names, but there are people high up in Kojima Productions that probably have an idea of what's going on, but it just seems like it's such a singular studio right now, only working on Kojima things, that I hope that there is a way for, with how spread thin he appears to be, that he can have maybe some kind of legacy, or some other people that work with him start to take on some projects and show their merit to take the helm. Because it does seem like if you cut the head off the snake right now, we'd be like, well, who are all these people? Right. They're not notable household names. Peach Rag makes a good point. Name anyone at Naughty Dog other than Druckmann. Amy Hennig in 2014. Fired.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was about to say, I mean, Jake, this is an excellent segue. I mean, we're talking about people training apprentices up to take their place after they're gone. I mean, is there a better time to talk about Neil Druckmann?
Well, yeah. I mean, the first big headline is that, so Druckmann was on the HBO press tour for quite a while, and they had him talking to the big outlets and stuff like that. Like it or not, despite the video game industry being insanely profitable, it is second rate when it comes to junkets and tours and press and stuff like that. So he finally seems to have gotten the go-ahead to spend a week talking to podcasts. And the first ones that have come up have been Last Stand Media, and then let me cite my source on the rest of it, because the actual quote comes from a interview that he did on Press X to Continue. And Press X to Continue got Druckmann on the line saying that there is a second project that he is in a producer role for at Naughty Dog, which means there is another director in the house at Naughty Dog, which is very interesting. It's kind of the same thing as Sony Santa Monica right now, where Cory Barlog is one of the directors, right? But who directed, what's the guy's name that directed Ragnarok?
It's Eric something. Let me
Eric does sound right. He's really good though, and he's a very well-spoken dude, very smart, and obviously is capable of making a great game. And that's the kind of thing that I feel like they're about to evolve into. And that's where I'd like to see Kojima Productions get to. But Maury, let me ask you, if Druckmann is the designer, the developer of Prophet, what the fuck is it called? Oh my god, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. Jesus Christ, it's such a bad fucking name.
Yeah, it's bad. It's a bad name. I don't like it.
Yeah. What is the other game inside Naughty Dog?
Okay. I will open by saying it is definitively not new IP. There's no way.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah, you're not doing Intergalactic, which is, that's what you want the spotlight on right now, the new IP from Naughty Dog. You're not doing something else. I also don't think that, like, if they're working on The Last of Us 3 or when they do The Last of Us 3, like when, whatever, I don't think anyone helms that game other than Druckmann. Like, I don't think that happens. So what do I think it is? I think it's Uncharted with Nathan Drake's daughter. It has to be.
Me too. That title has been, or that concept has been floating around for so long. And now you have Caitlin Devers.
Yeah. The girl
is that
plays,
her name?
Yeah, because she plays Abby in the show.
But she also plays Cassie Drake in Uncharted 4.
Yes, she does.
And she's becoming a bit of a household name in the video game industry now. So I would say there's even more connective tissue to assume that maybe Naughty Dog is continuing the legacy, because I remember that there was like a lot of rumors. People were trying to figure out, do you remember this thing a couple years ago where there was this like promo teaser with a bunch of IRL?
Yes, dude. Footage? And there was like a woman doing some Uncharted ass shit.
There was like a dimly lit cave and a woman holding a torch, and they were like, holy fuck, why the fuck are they showing this? This is clearly more Uncharted shit or Tomb Raider or something, first party. But come to find out, it was apparently nothing. I don't know. But this title has been floating around for a while. I remember Bend Studios being assumed as like potentially working on that, because Bend had done Golden Abyss.
Yep.
For them, so they kind of have some of that Uncharted DNA. But I would say, like, it just makes sense. The one extra point that I'll do to kind of like back you up on that is, obviously, I'm pretty sure at this point, if you're PlayStation Studios, Neil Druckmann has carte blanche to do whatever the fuck he wants. He was talking in one of the interviews I was listening to earlier about how I believe he was talking about how when he decided that he wanted to end the Uncharted story with 4, Sony was like, yeah, go for it. And when he said he wanted to do a brand new IP and leave that one behind, they were like, yeah, okay, go for it and make Last of Us. And everything that he's done for them has obviously paid off dividends,
Yeah.
And I think there's two differing ways to look at this. Like, part of me thinks that he can just do whatever the fuck he wants, but the other part of me is like, hey, you want to take a chance and spend 8 years on Intergalactic while you half make a show for HBO and you still get your pay? Then fucking have John Smith over there start working on another Uncharted for the B team. Like get one for us, man. We need another poster child, which I think is something.
Yeah.
There were headlines a while back that Naughty Dog said they weren't going back to Uncharted. Yeah, of course.
But they also said they weren't going back to The Last of Us. Like, you know what I mean? It's bullshit. Like, whatever it is, it's bullshit. And the reality is
Sting won't be at WrestleMania, But then halfway through the show, he drops down from the fucking rafters.
Boom. And I don't know, that promo video, right? And we found out since that Ben was working on some sort of live service title that I think has since been scrapped, right? So like, that means that it wasn't them doing this supposed Uncharted game with Nathan Drake's daughter. So like, who was it? The only people it could be is Naughty Dog. And like, I don't know. It's not hard for me to believe. And also putting like Neil Druckmann in a producer role to oversee that, right? It's not his baby. You know what I mean? It's not Nathan Drake. Not that Nathan Drake was his baby either, but he did finish up Uncharted 4, obviously. You know what I mean? So it's easier for him to disconnect from that and be like, yeah, I'll help you oversee this new journey, this new story that's going to continue the legacy of Uncharted. I think that's probably easier for him to swallow than the alternative, which is The Last of Us Part 3. There's just no way in hell he's letting someone else direct The Last of Us Part 3.
I'm with you. And And I guess Intergalactic has multiple directors, according to Patrick right now. And you could see Druckmann producing pre-production for The Last of Us 3, then moving to director after Intergalactic ships, which it could be entirely possible as well. But the only reason that I start to lean that way and start to agree is because of these new rumblings coming out of the Last of Us TV show. And with what was supposed to be a game split into 2 seasons is now starting to sound like it's going to be a game split into 3 seasons, which means we're probably 5 to 6 years out.
Yeah.
For like the Last of Us Part 2 story being wrapped. There's a world where The Last of Us Part 3 and The Last of Us TV show season 5 could coincide almost. Like it could be this crazy fucking like I don't even know what that would look like. That would be unheard of for video game standards, I guess. But like creating a story both for video games and for TV and having differences because they would all but certainly be being developed at the same time. And I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in the comments or in the chat or anything like that, but nothing like that has ever fucking happened because realistically, right at this moment, if The Last of Us in any capacity is being developed at Naughty Dog, whether that's Druckmann's team or otherwise, Druckmann has hands on it. Druckmann also has hands on the ongoing production of The Last of Us season 3 at least, and probably 4 for HBO. So he is writing actively a story. And if that story is to continue with the game that's being actively developed, these things are happening at the same time. Sure. And I can't think of a scenario where that has ever happened before, where somebody is like literally writing a story for game and TV with that in his head.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, now that I'm hearing that, it's like maybe the success of The Last of Us has really lit a fire under Druckmann's ass, and he's like, shit, dude, I don't want a Game of Thrones season 7 scenario on our hands where, you know, HBO and Sony are like, dude, the show made way too much money for us to not have a season 3 out 2 years after, you know, The Last of Us Part 2 wraps up in the show. You make the 3rd game or we're gonna make a story on our own. I don't know if anyone would do that to Druckmann inside of Sony. I don't know. That doesn't sound like something they can do just because of how great Druckmann has been, but it doesn't sound impossible. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a little bit of a fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I think so, but I would encourage you guys to, my guess right now is we're recording this on Tuesday night. Druckmann isn't going to be on our podcast yet, maybe next week, but he does seem to be doing the rounds. So my guess is I listened to I have to say this kind of under my breath, depending on who's listening. I listened to like the Last Stand Media interview with Colin Moriarty, and it was fantastic. It was about an hour long, and getting the insight into the video game side of things with Druckmann was very, very good. And he asked some really interesting questions about kind of like where his allegiance sort of lays right now. Like, you know, you're a busy man, you're spread very thin, you're doing the TV show, you're doing the video games. And he was very clear in saying like, video games is his first love. It's the art that he most wants to protect. And he's having fun doing all the other stuff, but he is a game designer and developer first and foremost, which I think is very interesting. And I think that no matter what he's working on and talented at, I think that's where he wants to still be. So I don't think he's going to get like distracted from that point at this point, but I do think it's going to be interesting to see where all this shit lands, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Good shit though. Now, you've been trying for so long to avoid our 4th individual. Do you remember his name?
It's Nomura.
Tetsuya Nomura, the mastermind behind the Kingdom Hearts series. Now, this is actually very wild because this is the 2nd week in a row I get to talk Kingdom Hearts with you, because on a whim last week on Tuesday, I told you that I had started Kingdom Hearts 3 because I was just feeling Kingdom Hearts. Less than 24 hours later, Square Enix put out a statement saying that Kingdom Hearts Missing Link that was announced alongside Kingdom Hearts 4 is canceled. They couldn't figure it out. The monetization didn't work, the free-to-play nature of it. It was supposed to be a Kingdom Hearts game that kind of worked like Pokemon Go, where you would battle depending on where you went, GPS style. Had a bunch of original story that was supposed to tie into Kingdom Hearts 4, and people got fucking crazy. The Kingdom Hearts fans are not a very, I don't want to say tolerant bunch, but they are real quick to throw their hands in the air and be like, what the fuck? We were looking forward to the, whatever the fuck lore was going to get dropped here. Now, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. I'm not heartbroken this is gone, but I have been living in a drought of Kingdom Hearts games for a long time. And even though this was a mobile game that would probably be a free-to-play nightmare and I wouldn't stick with, I would have liked to have had some more Kingdom Hearts, because for the very, very longest time, even in between the 14-year gap of Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3, I was drip-fed Kingdom Hearts, where it was never more than like 2.5 years until the next Kingdom Hearts came out. And at this point, it has been, I want to say 4 years. I think 2021 or 2022 was Melody Memory. Fuck, man, it might have been 2020. I think it was 2020. I think we're pushing 5 years since a Kingdom Hearts game, and that's including spin-offs. So things are really very much like they put a bow on that saga, as they've said, and now we are getting into some other stuff. But Kingdom Hearts Missing Link is no more. So people start freaking out, as you can imagine. The next day, apparently people were saying, what does this mean for Kingdom Hearts 4? Now, good news. The team is still hard at work on Kingdom Hearts 4, and they put out 7 new pictures of Kingdom Hearts 4. Actually, 8 new pictures. It was 6 pictures for the US that was also international, but then a 7th picture for the US that was specifically in English, and a slightly different 7th picture for Japanese audiences with another picture. So 8 total images of Kingdom Hearts 4 with some very interesting stuff and a lot of questions. And this is the kind of thing, there are video essays that are 4 hours long on what the 7 pictures could mean already now, 4 days later, because this is all some deep stuff. But it, I think, adds a little bit more credence to my theory of it is high time to re-reveal Kingdom Hearts 4 in earnest. And I think within the next 30 days, we will have new Kingdom Hearts 4 in the form of a trailer, probably just like a trailer or a re-announcement, maybe a subtitle, logo change, announcement of like, I don't know, release window. Who could tell?
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 4 is upon us.
How do you feel?
I think so.
How do you feel as a diehard Kingdom Hearts fan? Your hopes were crushed at the shutting down of the mobile game, but now,
I'm all right. I just want the fucking game. I'm ready. I am not. Here's the thing. I'm being pretty like chill about this because like I didn't have a big. The Kingdom Hearts series is weird. Like every Kingdom Hearts fan, outside of the absolute sickos, they don't love every single thing that Kingdom Hearts does. Like there's some people that love every little fucking, but that's a very small, like a 1% of the Kingdom Hearts fans love every single thing. There's some stuff that's for me and there's some stuff that's not. It doesn't stop it from being my favorite fucking franchise. Like Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite game of all time. And there is few things on earth that bring me more joy than Sora, the main character of Kingdom Hearts. He is the purest boy. He is the nicest friend. He is a role model in all facets of life. He is just the best, the quintessential like good boy protagonist of video games. And when Sora is like a part of the saga, it is tough to like doubt. I don't know. I'm patient, man. I'm ready for more, but I'm not freaking out about it. I know it's in good fucking hands. And if there's anything to look to reassure myself of that, it's that Nomura's last project was Final Fantasy VII Remake, and not only did he give us Final Fantasy VII Remake, but he laid the groundwork and wrote the story for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and whatever the final Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy game is. The dude's firing on all cylinders. He hasn't lost it at all. To me, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a 10 out of 10 and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is like a 10.5 out of 10. Like those games are too fucking good, and they are Nomura the fuck up. Like you've probably heard that even from the zeitgeist of like, oh, well, the Final Fantasy VII story now is it's getting all Kingdom Heartsy, which it does, and it's sick, and it's better for it, and more people are on board, and especially with Kingdom Hearts 4, maybe changing its visuals a little bit and going for a different aesthetic and being a Kingdom Hearts jumping in point of something else. I truly think that Kingdom Hearts will be re-revealed, and we will drop the 4 from it, and it will have a I don't know, it'd be called like Kingdom Farts 1. You know what I mean? Like it'll seem like it's something that you can just get into at the ground level. It won't be you need to have done all of these things. It is very much, they put a really nice bow on the Kingdom Hearts saga back in the day, which is nice with Kingdom Hearts 3. So wherever they want to go, man, I'm on board. Just fucking give it to me. I'm sick of waiting.
You made me excited. I didn't even put together that Nomura was the director of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, man. He's the fucking best, dude.
That's crazy.
I want to just like, I want to do like a messy podcast where we just like read the Wikipedia of like different video game people, because Nomura's legacy is so fucking wild, dude. It would blow your mind if you saw like what he's credited for. He's been at Square Enix for so long, and he started out with Final Fantasy IV as like a debugger. I'm just gonna run you through his Wikipedia page. We're already going long. I don't care. All right, look. Debugger for Final Fantasy IV, battle graphic design for Final Fantasy V, graphic director and monster design for Final Fantasy VI, and he gets to create his first main characters, Setzer, the Gambler, and Shadow, the Ninja, two of the best fucking characters from Final Fantasy VI. Then he dips his hands into lightly a bunch of different things. Live Alive, Front Mission, Chrono Trigger, and Super Mario RPG, which are all just like games from Final Fantasy VI to like Final Fantasy X, is just this Square Enix era that is so unrivaled, with so many games that share so much DNA, and everyone is working together and sharing assets and ideas. And Nomura is such a central part of them, because he is at this point now developing Final Fantasy VII, where he is character design, battle visual director, original story, fucking getting into the mix, being like asserted as a legend. He gets his hand on Air Guys, which is of course the terrible fighting game, Parasite Eve, Brave Fencer Musashi, character design for Final Fantasy VIII, back to Parasite Eve, does the character design for both the Bouncer and Final Fantasy X, which honestly are pretty similar, but Final Fantasy X's character design is second to none. And then he gets to direct his first fucking game, Kingdom Hearts.
Holy shit.
And it's an absolute banger. A legendary franchise is born, and they make the right decision, giving this guy that has so much fucking DNA, just absolutely crushing it. Then his hands are all over the place. He's doing Kingdom Hearts 2, before Crisis Final Fantasy 7. He's helping out with Final Fantasy 10-2 character design, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, all of these like Kingdom Hearts spin-offs and stuff like that. And he's all Kingdom Hearts all the way until, you know, the tragedy of Final Fantasy Versus 13.
No.
You know about Final Fantasy Versus 13? Do you know that was a video game?
I knew that it was a video game, but I never knew about the tragedy of it. No.
So Final Fantasy Versus 13 was announced, I think, alongside Final Fantasy 13, or before Final Fantasy 13 came out, and it was a traditional looking RPG that was supposed to take place alongside Lightning Story in Final Fantasy 13 proper. And that game would eventually be kind of ripped behind the scenes. It's still a little blurry. We can watch a couple multi-hour video essays on how this all shakes out. But essentially, there's a really cool trailer for Versus 13. And then the work that he does in Versus 13 is yanked from him, given to somebody else, and then adapted into Final Fantasy 15. So if you look at the Final Fantasy Versus 13 trailer, you basically have a character that is like Noctis. He almost looks identical to him. And then there's some crazy metaverse shit the further that you get. He's okay. He goes on. He does his thing with Kingdom Hearts 3. I think there was a little bit of internal strife, but for the most part, he washes his hands of some of the Final Fantasy stuff for quite a while, and then gets into Kingdom Hearts fully to develop Kingdom Hearts 3. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, there is some just, I can't even begin to describe what happens, but there is like a multiversal thing that transpires that involves what appears to be the characters from Final Fantasy Versus 13 and like an in-game video game that appears to mirror Final Fantasy Versus 13 and an in-game trailer that mirrors the trailer of it. Is so fucking meta and crazy in Nomura pilled. It is just wild. But from there, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, obviously, producer on Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and actively directing Kingdom Hearts 4. The guy is just a fucking menace.
Holy shit.
Too talented.
I had no idea that he had that much legacy with the company. Final Fantasy 4? That's
Final Fantasy 4,
dude. That's
as a debugger, dude.
That's insane.
All the way up the ranks.
the tone, I know this is so off the rails. The tone of Final Fantasy 15 has always been interesting to me. Is it worth playing? I own it.
I love Final Fantasy 15. I'm a huge
Cool.
Final Fantasy 15 defender. It is very different from a traditional. I always get a little soured on like some people are like best Final Fantasy I ever played was 7 remake. All I've played is 16, 15, and 7 remake, and I'm like, Jesus fuck. Like that's a crazy few to have as your sample size. Like realistically, if you don't even count 7 remake because the number scares you and you weren't like part of that side story, the last single player Final Fantasy games are Final Fantasy 13, 15, and 16. And they are all like pretty crazy departures from the normal Final Fantasy formula, if we're being honest. So like it's tough to say what is and is not a Final Fantasy at this point, but for me, Final Fantasy 15 is an absolute banger because it is. I think that there's a little bit of shared. I don't know the right word here, but like I see Death Stranding, and it's so difficult to compare Death Stranding to anything. But the chill, quiet, rolling from point A to point B that you get from Death Stranding, in some ways you get from Final Fantasy 15, except instead of a solitary thing, it's the boys trip with the 4 homies in the car and you're listening to the radio and taking pictures. It's a much jollier time and the stakes are high and things get crazy. And a lot of people think that the Final Fantasy 15 story is really convoluted and hard to explain, but in reality, it's like the most simple Final Fantasy story that's ever existed. It's like so fucking basic. It's like good guy, bad guy, war, good guy win. Like it is really fucking overcomplicated for no reason when the actual story beats are incredibly simple. I think it's worth checking out. I like the battle system as well. It's not turn-based at all. It is action for sure. And the game visually holds up in a big way. It's one of the coolest open worlds of all time.
Okay, I'll be downloading it tonight.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. I'd love what you think. I think you will very, very much appreciate it because of who you are. Like the opening to Final Fantasy 15 is so Death Stranding pilled, dude. It starts off with like experience it instead of me telling you. I think you'll really love the opening moments. Like there's a song and a thing that happens and it's just really fucking like sets the vibe of the game in such a good way. Listen, tie one on, turn the lights down, give yourself at least 2 hours and start Final Fantasy 15. Report back.
I'm so excited to come back next week.
My
God, it's gonna be great.
For sure. What do you say we hit the news spotlight an hour and 15 minutes into the show?
Let's do it.
I just got a couple of headlines to run through. I want to bounce off you, and I want to pick your brain on one of them real quick. I won't keep you all night, but I could do another hour easy, bro.
Same.
When I prepped the show yesterday and this morning, the headline was Apple has blocked Fortnite's return to the iOS App Store. However, now I have written next to it, NVM, it's out. Never mind. It's out. They were playing fucking hardball. There was a court order to approve this shit, and they were saying, no, we're not doing that. They wanted to wait for like a higher judge in an appeal or something like that. But they got over it, apparently. I'm sure there's legal battle to ensue. But as of right now, you can play Fortnite on your fucking mobile device around the world. iOS, baby.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive. The future is now. Nintendo confirms attendance at Gamescom 2025. Now, this doesn't mean... I wanted to touch on this because I feel like when that headline goes out, people are very confused as to what Gamescom is in America. Yeah. Some people hear Gamescom and they think, oh, that's the Keighley show. No. That's Gamescom. That's Gamescom Opening Night Live, which is a show that is produced in conjunction with Gamescom. However, someone's present at Gamescom proper or Gamescom Opening Night Live does not ensure their presence at the alternative. So Gamescom show floor will have a Nintendo presence, which makes sense. I think that happens in August of every year. It'll be Donkey Kong has just come out. We'll probably have a direct by then with some stuff to show off for the holiday season. You'll be able to go there at the biggest game convention in the world, get your hands on a Switch 2 if you haven't done so already, play Pokemon Legends, ZA, and Metroid Prime 2, 4, 5. Which Metroid Prime is coming out?
4
early, and then who knows what else they have planned. So kind of cool. Good to see them there. They weren't there in 2024. They were there in 2023, and they've been just kind of spotty with their attendance and things in general. Maury, you think there'll be a Nintendo Direct this month? Next month, sorry.
I could see that happening. Yeah, it would make sense. It'd be a fitting time.
You think right before the Switch 2 launch or right after?
I think they wait till after.
Yeah, you think they've said everything they need to say and they're just going to launch their console?
I think so. I think they've done enough. I mean, clearly, like the pre-orders are sold out. Like, I think they did what they needed to. I think all you can do now is just get people more excited for what's next after the release of the hardware. Keep the momentum going.
Not a bad point, but what if I told you there were many other points to be made on that? And this very Thursday, you could tune in to the Drop In Drop Out podcast for an expanded conversation on that very subject. We are doing our predictions for the Summer Game Fest Key 3 era. That would be all encompassing of all those June showcases. We'll have some funny questions, some real questions, and we will be taking audience submissions from the Discord, of course, where you are able to see what you got going on from like a big swings standpoint. Like, I would lose my mind if this happened, and see what might be coming up from I really actually predict that this will be here. We'll put some stakes on it. We'll answer some questions. It's going to be a very fun, very highly produced show with some fun video game like theories and ideas and stuff like that on Thursday. So definitely tune in to that. I've got 3 more for you. Don't worry, Maury. Stellar Blade 2. You hear about this?
No, ironically not.
So Shift Up put out a document talking about their plans up through 2027, and there was a big bar that said 2027, and everything to the right of it happens after that. And on the left side of that bar, happening in 2026, was the fucking Stellar Blade sequel, just literally written out, Stellar Blade sequel.
What?
Planned for before 2027.
That's crazy.
It's the world we're living in.
It's also a fast turnaround because Stellar Blade was 2023. That's 3 years.
I think that is the right amount of time to foster a new IP's. Like, Stellar Blade is a technical marvel, if you ask me. Like, I think that game is beautiful for what is essentially a AA game and plays really well and was very well received, and it still does numbers on Twitch. Like, there's a lot going on with the Stellar Blade franchise. I say use the engine, make some new fucking characters, make some new fucking monsters, make some new environments, and pump out a sequel, man.
Yeah.
That's the right thing to do. Don't spend fucking 8 years with this thing in the can. No. Don't Tears of the Kingdom this. Don't overcomplicate it.
No.
More Stellar Blade and call it Stellar Blade 2 is good. That's how games used to be made, baby.
Yeah. More jiggle
I think that's smart. For sure. It sells. A leak suggests that the Mario Brothers movie sequel will be called Super Mario World. Do you know why that's important, Maury?
I'm assuming. I can only assume it's because of the game Super Mario World.
I think so. Yeah. I think that the Mario World is a game that's important for many reasons. It is a game that... Shit, does Mario World introduce Yoshi? I think it does.
I think it does.
Nintendo, High Score Weekly. Is Yoshi introduced? He's going to be like, well, actually, Yoshi Cookie existed or something like that. But I think it's the first mainline Mario that Yoshi is in. I don't think Yoshi's in Mario Brothers 3 now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So we would assume that we'll get Yoshi, but there's also like the idea of like Koopalings, and there's some really fun things to think about because Mario World is a fucking banger, man. Cool story in its own right with all the islands and stuff like that and the way that you move around that map. I really am excited for the next Mario movie and the like shared Mario universe. So Super Mario World is a good name for it. I love them paying more attention to the games. Maury.
Yeah.
The last story I don't even have fucking like notes on because I was like, Maury will tell me about this. What the fuck is happening in Marathon World?
Bro, so essentially, for those of you that didn't hear, there was an artist who came out and was like, hey, all of this shit, all these assets in Marathon were stolen directly off of my art page. And you can like check the time slot. Like these dates were from 4 or 5 years ago. Dude, it's a shit show. Like almost every bit of iconography that you see in Marathon, any bit of writing, any logos, any of that shit was stolen from one singular artist, not like a group of artists. And mind you, Bungie has stolen art from artists before for other titles, but this is their first case of art theft for Marathon. Dude, it's like every piece of iconography in the game it's so bad. How do they keep letting this happen? You know, they put out their little statement talking about a former employee, a former Bungie employee. It's like, I'm sure they are former. I think you made them former 30 seconds before you put out this press release.
Yeah,
like,
former as of this morning.
Yeah, right. But dude, like everything is just like completely stolen. And now they got to go through and they got to wipe everything and they got to change it all. So it seems like it might push back their plans for the beta, ultimately push back their plans for release. Look, here's the deal. I'm one of the people that like enjoyed my time with Marathon. We're going to talk about this more. Marathon was never going to be the thing that took over my time as my first person shooter. That was never going to be what it was. I did not feel that from the beta. I liked what I played. I don't think that this helps them at the fuck all. I don't think this makes their job any easier of selling this game to people. There's just like it's just a really bad thing when this happens more than once at the same company. We even had this conversation with Bungie a couple times about people stealing art from like small fucking artists and putting it in the game. It just sucks. It just sucks. So that's the world of Marathon.
What a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
A true mess. I hope they get it together. I need to hear some more tug stories, man.
Oh, man. I'll have them for you. You know I will.
That's for sure. Hey, man.
So,
good talking video games with you.
This was great. This was a great time.
A banger, dude. So many fun little things. I feel like I'm bastardizing Patrick's format for Spotlight Games, where we kind of just run through the news stories. Mostly we talk about what we're playing and we do the news stories, and we usually don't have like another hook to it because I don't know, I feel like I just want to fucking talk about these news stories. And every time there's been something meaty, I've never once felt like we can't do an hour and a half of Spotlight based on just like what's happened in the last 6 days.
Oh, yeah, dude. There's so much. I mean, yeah, look at other like platforms. You know what I mean? They can do an hour-long show every single day. So it's like, yeah, we could fill an hour and a half with how many fucking stories come out. It's easy.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's fun and it's good conversation. And I think you're so fun to do this with because you have such a different scope of interests and experiences as well. I think that you and I have a very fun overlap, but a lot of like things that I'm into that you're not into and stuff that you're into that I'm not into. And it makes for usually somebody's on board with something that we're talking about. It's very rare. What do you hate?
What do I hate?
Before we end the show, yeah, what do you hate the most?
Oh, God. Yeah.
Genre or like...
Well, I mean, if I'm talking about gaming in general, I hate that there's so many games that because they were just before my time, I just don't know.
No, I don't want the ones you don't know. I want the ones that you're like, this fuck, I'm not talking to a fan of this fucking game.
I'm not talking. Oh man, it's probably like.
What do you hate? Do you hate like Pikmin? Like, I can't stand these fucking Pikmin fans.
Dude, I don't have any feelings about the Pikmin fans, but I know for a fact that you've seen the compilations of the people that would show up to like Minecon, like back in like the 2010s. That is the most bizarre, poorly adjusted group of people ever. And like genuinely, there is no worse experience I can imagine than having to sit and talk with 10 Minecon attenders in one sitting. Like that's the nightmare blunt rotation right there. 10 Minecon attenders from like 2012, and I gotta light up with them.
I think you're right.
That's bad.
Yeah,
that's bad.
That's pretty tough. Yeah, I think Minecraft, like hardcore early 10s Minecraft fans, is a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's a rough group. Do you have one beyond Minecon attenders of the 2010s?
Yeah, Disco Elysium enjoyers.
You know, it's so funny. I was literally about to say, you're so funny. I was literally about to say, I'll do an hour of Final Fantasy 15 for every hour of Disco Elysium you do this week. I was about to trade you. now I know that I'm exactly what you despise. So we'll skip. Skip it.
You're into Final Fantasy. I already sold you on that.
You did.
Pitch me something that you think I'd like. I'll do a tradesies.
Yeah. I won't be able to think of anything now. I know reading is not your favorite thing to do in games because I crack jokes, but I get it. You're sitting there and you're literally reading a novel. I do understand the disconnect. I do.
Yeah. For sure.
I'll come up with something.
But I hate a bunch of things. I got a list. Dude. We can start where you want to start. Fucking Undertale, Inscription, Animal Well, Disco Elysium, Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a long list.
All right. You all know what to do. Like and subscribe on the platform of your choice. Help out the Spotlight Games podcast. I love what's going on over here. Patrick will be making his impending return sometime in the coming weeks. However, I refuse to not stay on with my residency. If he tries to come back in 2 weeks and not have me on for episode 169, I will fucking Spotlight Games myself. I am absolutely going to be there. I'm going through 169 a minimum, and I'll stay longer if he'll have me, but we'll figure that out as we go. But yeah, help us out. Check out Drop In Dropout Pod. Check out Spotlight Games Pod. Check out JK Games. Check out Clickerbait. You know the whole thing. dropindropoutpod.com is the quickest way to get to everyone's kind of portals and just click around if you're looking for different hosts or different shows. And if you're listening to us on one platform, go find us on another platform because it helps us out so much. Shout out to our absolutely iconic chat. So many people sticking around until the end. I see Sirius, I see High Score Weekly, I see Bennett, I see Jula, I see Pinksy, I see P-Swag, all you absolute legends, and you YouTube VOD watchers, you podcast subscribers. We couldn't do it without you. Maury, let's wave to the camera until the show ends.